Hey there, everybody. This is the Occult Truth Movement, here to bring some truth to yo ass. So, look, I have subscribed to as many Christian truth movement and truthers as I can possibly find, and I'm still searching for more and more and more. But what I've noticed is that a lot of these truth movements have been overran by psychopaths and by idiots. Okay? It seems that Christianity has been kind of divided into three. On the one side, you got your Catholics with their infallible Pope. You know, the Pope speaks for them, God speaks through him, and then we got your fundamentalists that have their infallible Bible. What the Bible says is what it says, and that's what it means. And they take it all literal. The Bible is always interpreted literal by these people. And they even get their concordances out, and they try to tell you what the Greek word means, what the Hebrew word means, and whatever. And then you got your kind of Hillsongy, New Agey, kind of love, positive thinking, kind of group. So that's like the three groups. Well, the ones who have dominated the internet, the truth movement, are the fundamentalists, are the diehard King James only, Bible believing Christians, born again believers, what they like to call themselves. And the problem with these people who take the Bible so literal is they don't know anything. That's like all they read is the Bible. Like, I study all ancient religions. I study all modern religions. I study the occult, hermetics, any kind of esoteric knowledge or books or wisdom that I can get, I study it. I study the secular side of things. I study the spiritual side of things, the atheistic side of things, philosophies. Like, you have to kind of branch out and not be afraid to dive into something that might not make you feel very comfortable. Because that's the problem with a lot of these Christians is the reason that they don't know that much is because they'll get on some of these occult websites or get into an occult book, and when it starts flipping Christianity around and giving them painting a different picture, their beliefs start to feel threatened by it, so they back up. Well, I'll just go over to this Christian website who's going to tell me all the things I need to know. I'm not going to do my own research because that just made me feel funny. They're afraid. And I used to be the same way, so, but I dared delve into the deep. I didn't let it scare me, and I got tired of being told what to believe. It's just it's not meant to be taken that literal. It is not meant to be taken that literal, seriously. And what happens is they learn a little bit. They learn a little bit about something, and then they misinterpret it, they fudge it, they mess it all up. And then they make countless videos about it. Everything's demonic, everything's satanic, everything's just evil. And the only good is them, their Bible, and Jesus. And this guy's a prime example. This guy thinks everybody is a tranny. Everybody is transsexual. Jessica Simpson, Tyra Banks, Kellyanne Conway. She's Illuminati tranny reptilian Nephilim. That's what Kellyanne Conway is. So she is a reptilian alien, which comes from the Sumerian religions, also mixed with the Nephilim, which is the fallen angels mentioned in Genesis 6, but expanded more upon in the books of Enoch. And they talk about it a little. I think Peter talks about it. Jude talks about it in the Bible. I always got to take it back to the Bible because I know a lot of Christians will be watching this. But where they get this thing from? And look, I'm not like pro tranny. Honestly, I could give two shits what Look, if you're a man and you feel like you're a woman stuck in a man's body, that's your prerogative. I believe that there's a man and there's a woman. It's the only two genders. You know, if you want to be a woman, whatever. You know, if she wants to be a man, okay, whatever. I don't believe in forcing it on children. I don't believe on, you know, like if there's, you know, Mick Molly drag show down at the library reading the kids, I'm probably not going to take my kids down there. But if other people want to, if my neighbors want to, whatever. That's on them, and that's how they want to raise their kids. It's not how I want to. I think it would confuse the hell out of kids, honestly. But whatever. You know, it's welcome to 2019. But where they try to get spiritual with it. And that's the thing that kills me. It's like, okay, if you got a thing against trannies and against gays, fine, I get it. I know what the Bible says about gays. You know, I get that, okay? I understand where you're coming from. You know, if it makes you feel uncomfortable when you see a 6.5-foot dude with fake boobs, a mini skirt, and his balls hanging out the bottom, walking into Target's bathroom, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But when you try to take religious beliefs that you consider anything outside of Christianity is satanic, according to most of these guys. So when you take something that's satanic and you apply it to a group of people, you're giving them power. You're giving them a form of godliness, basically. Now let me elaborate. So in some Jewish belief systems and some Gnostic belief systems and different kind of ancient religions, there was a belief that God was androgynous. Now, androgynous means male and female. And in some of the Gnostic and Jewish texts, when Adam was originally formed from the ground, Adam was androgynous. That's why you'll see a lot of esoteric pictures or alchemy pictures that's got, you know, a man's head here and a woman's head here, and their bodies combined, you know, and they're sitting up on top, underneath, or they'll have a god that looks that way, or whatever. You'll see different pictures out there. Now, they'll take, and then, like, eventually he ended up separating Adam and Eve and whatever. You know, I'm not trying to get into the whole history of it right now, but they learn a little bit about this, and then they take it, they put a Satan stamp on it, and then they apply it to the things that make them feel uncomfortable. You know, like this guy here. You know, everybody's a tranny. Tyra Banks is a tranny. Jessica Simpson's a tranny. Kellyanne Conway is a tranny reptilian fallen angel. You know, Charlie's Angels, the royal family, apparently the prince is marrying a tranny, Celine Dion. I mean, come the hell on now. Mila Jovovich. I mean, everybody's trannies. You know, Michelle Obama. I seen one where even Melania Trump is a tranny. You know, like Keira Knightley, really? Like, come on now, man. The transpocalypse. The transpocalypse is coming. Welcome to the end times, everybody. Must be the end times, because transpocalypse is here. Like, you know, they want to make it as like this is the satanic Illuminati agenda to destroy gender, and you know that's more of a liberalism plan than it is some kind of spiritual movement. And the majority of liberals are very humanist type people anyways. You know, so I can't sit here and honestly say that I've sat down and had a spiritual conversation with a transsexual, because I haven't. But I'm willing to bet that 70 to 80% of them aren't even spiritual people. They don't fasten themselves gods, you know, or trying to be gods or anything like that. Like, that's all in your guys' heads. They're not out, like, they're, like I said, it's more of a liberal thing. It's more of a progressive, far left LGBT. It's like the dark side of the LGBT movement. It's the T in it. You know what I mean? Like, somehow they're getting political pull because of the minorityism, the civil rights isms that they're using. You know, but that's more of a humanist movement. It's not a spiritual movement. Yes, there are religions who believe that God is half man, half woman, androgynous. But where I think you're mistaking is you're trying to make God a person. My personal opinion is that we're humans. We can't even begin to comprehend what God is or how to describe God. You know, where it's beyond our comprehension. You know, it'd be like a dog trying to explain what a man is. They can't. They don't understand. They don't comprehend. So it's really arrogant for us to sit here and say, I can explain what God is and what God isn't. You know, that's very arrogant, and I think that that's where a lot of Christians screw up as well, and I think that's a lot of the problem with interpreting the Bible so literal, is it gives them that confidence that I know what God is, and it's my God, and my God is the best God, and if you don't believe in my God, then you're going to suffer eternally. You know, but the whole androgynous metaphor for the ancient gods is not a male, female, XY chromosome, penis, vagina kind of God. That's not what they're saying. It's a metaphor for a feminine energy and a masculine energy. And, you know, because God is a spirit being, which would be, you know, if he created us out of himself, he spoke us into existence, and everything came out of him, from him. Everything's connected to God. So God would be energy, a spirit being, but beyond our comprehension, energy, matter, antimatter, all that is God. It all makes up God. So when they say androgynous, it's more of a masculine, feminine energy that flows through the divine providence. And that's where the masculine and feminine energy comes from. That's the androgynous they speak of, not a literal man, woman in the sky sitting on a cloud with a set of knockers and a penis. That's not what they're talking about. That's the problem with fundamentalists trying to be truthers, is because they interpret their religious text literal. So when they go to try to look into other spiritual beliefs, other religious texts, they interpret that literal. And it's not everything is made to be taken literal on face value. You know, you've got to look, you got to pick it apart, you got to study it. You got to pay attention to everything that it says. You know, but as long as we've got people who interpret everything so literal, we're going to have massive confusion, especially like with this. Like, look, I get it. There's a LGBT movement. It's been going on since the 60s. You know, this isn't anything new. It's just finally it's being put on television and stuff now. It's being more in your face, out in the open about it now. But that's more of a progressive liberal thing. That's not a spiritual movement. You know, I hope people are following me on this. It's not like, yes, there is transsexuals parading around on television and parading around in society and trying to reach out to other people who maybe have that kind of itch within them that they need to scratch, that sometimes I feel like a woman. And they're trying to reach out to that person and say, hey, it's okay. It's okay. You know, like, they're trying to, like, bring people to it. Hey, don't be ashamed of yourself. Come on with us. Hey, don't be ashamed of yourself. Come on with us. You know, get away from these mean, evil Christians who want to stone you and put you to death. And that's why the fundamentalist, you're condensing more and more of your church because you're being so hateful towards everybody. You know, if you were a little more open and a little more loving, and I'm not telling you that you have to accept what these people do, but show them love. You know, like explain to them in a loving way of why you think that being a homosexual is wrong. You know, instead of just saying, well, the Bible says it's wrong, and it says that you should be stoned, you should be burnt alive, because my Bible says it. So I wish all fags would die, all trans would die, burn in hell eternally. You know, coming at people like that, you're going to push them away every time. You know, but if you come to them, you explain to them like the Bible, you don't even have to bring the Bible up initially. You should be like, I don't agree with homosexuality because it's counterproductive to our evolution, to creation. If everybody turns into homosexuals, we will not our population will slow. And we need man and woman to be together for the sake of our species, because we have to continue to produce. So that is why it's kind of anti-God. You know, yes, the Bible says this, but you know what? The Bible also says that if your kids talk back to you, you take them to the elders and stone them in the streets. Now, how many of you guys would be alive today if that part was taken literal? I sure wouldn't be. I'd have been stoned at 10 years old. Probably earlier than that. You know what I mean? So, but they'll push that part away. You know, like you can't take everything so literal. So, you know, why would God not want homosexuals? Because it goes against creation. Because it goes against repopulation. You know, we as a species need to repopulate in order to maintain our humanity. And if you approach somebody with more like that than just running up to them and slapping them with a Bible and telling them they're going to hell, you might get better results, and you might get more people to be a little more interested in listening to what you got to say about this Jesus character. You know, instead of just being so hateful and being like, oh, well, the Bible says that God turns you over to a reprobate mind and he makes you be homosexual because you're damned. You know what I mean? Like, you can't approach people like that. And that's the problem is with taking it so literal. Because, yes, the Bible can be interpreted that way by the Apostle Paul. Instead of just considering maybe that was just how Paul was. You know, because Paul also says that women shouldn't speak in church and that women shouldn't lead men. You know, but there's women Christian truthers out there. If you take the Bible so literal, why are you talking? You know, see how bad that sounds? You know, maybe you could just take into consideration that Paul was a very wise man, a very spiritual man, but he wasn't a big fan of women. You know, so you don't have to even pay attention to that part. You can read the rest of it and be great, be moved, be lifted by it, and use that to help convert people. You know, but when you take it so literal, I mean, if the Bible from cover to cover was taking all the way 100% literal today, like I said, 80% of the population would be stoned alive. Or stoned to death. Not alive there. Would be stoned to death. You know, so that's what kills me about a lot of this. Look, there is not some spiritual transsexual movement, Baphomet transsexual movement, trying to completely destroy gender and make everybody into transsexuals. It's not happening. 80% of your transsexuals are humanists or atheists. You know, they're not spiritual people. And the small part that aren't trying to push a belief onto anybody. They're trying to open sexuality to people. You know what I mean? So that's just what I'm just saying. Like, people really need to just open your minds and Stop taking everything so literal. I mean, for shit's sake, man. Like, and then, because this is what happens, is this. Every woman on television is a transsexual. You know, they had one where it showed Demi Moore with her shirt off, and because her body was kind of straight down and wasn't curvy, she's a man. They didn't consider the fact that the lady's like 60 flipping years old, and that after a while, shit starts to sag. They don't always keep their curves. Their hips don't always go out like this. Like, they say this, but then they look at their own mother who's built even more box-like, but they call her mother. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's like a mental disorder or something. I really don't know how to explain it. Like, I mean, everybody is transsexual. Everybody. Meg Ryan. I mean, shit. You know, who's that? Sandra Bullock? Is she Jennifer Aniston? Is she trans? Like, all these women who are clearly women. Shakira. Trans for man Satan agenda. What? You know, not everything is satanic. You know, just because... That's the problem with that, too, is like, well, if you're not a Christian, you must be a Satanist. No. Satanists, for the most part, are atheists. They don't even believe in Satan. That's like it's an archetype for rebellion. You know, the Satanic Temple is completely secular, completely atheistic. You know, now the Anton LaVeyan Satanic Church of Satan, they do ritual magic and work with demons and spirits, so they've got a spiritual side to it. But the Satanic Temple, the ones who are posting Baphomet all over the place, they don't even believe in Satan. You know, and Baphomet has many different meanings going into each part of it, which, you know, I don't have it memorized. It's something that I have to, like, look into. I've actually got a book that explains it, the Baphomet, and you know, maybe I'll make a video about that, so everybody stop thinking that that's the horned god, the devil, because the actual symbol of Baphomet has nothing to do with pagan gods, with Pan or the horned god. It has nothing to do with that. You know, but like I said, you watch any Christian truthers video, and it does. It's Satan himself. You know, where in the Bible does it say Satan has horns? Where in the Bible does it talk about Baphomet? It doesn't. You know, this is all just shit that's been made up throughout the years. And this is people, it's a lack of knowledge. You know, they won't look into the entire thing because, like I said, when a lot of these Christian truthers get on some of these websites are contrary to what they believe. They start saying things that make them feel a little uncomfortable. They start interpreting the Bible in a different way or knocking down some of the things that Christians believe. They get real uncomfortable real fast, and they click off that website and they go to a Christian website where they explain to them exactly what it means and exactly why it's wrong. And then they make their videos based off of that because they're afraid to get out of that comfort zone. They don't like it when Jesus is questioned. They don't like it when the Bible's questioned, you know, or interpreted a different way, or shown historically how there's very similar stories to the ones that are in the Bible. You know, they don't like that, so they get on, you know, they do a little bit of research, and then when it starts making them feel uncomfortable, they get mad, they get off that website, and they go to a Christian one, and then boom, they make videos. But they never understand the full concept of what they're talking about, so they just talk just to talk. And pretend, and they say it with confidence and pretend like they know what they're talking about, and everything's satanic and Luciferianism. And, you know, I want somebody to tell me, where did Luciferianism start? Where did it start? I'll wait. Exactly, because nobody knows. You know? But I probably carried on for a little too long on this, but you know, like, People just need to do good research. If you're going to do truth movement videos, do your research. Quit just pointing the finger at everything and saying Satan, 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 Satan. Because humans have a lot more to do with it than Satan does. So, this is Greg. This is another episode of the Occult Truth Movement. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Peace out.